What is up, everybody? We are back here for another NBA standings breakdown and play-in prediction for how I think the final few games of the NBA regular season will play out here. We'll be giving my in-depth analysis in this one for each team's remaining schedule that are in a dogfight for seeding here. So we only have 10 more days of the NBA regular season. Teams either have 5 or 6 games for the most part here. And we'll get into the update in this one. In the Eastern Conference, of course, you've got the Boston Celtics. Since my last video, which was last Saturday, they have won 3 straight games, got to the 60-win mark, 60-16. At this point, these games don't matter. It's just all for mojo or vibe heading into the playoffs. They've got a home game tonight against the Kings, so we'll see what they can do there. Then at the number 2 spot, you've got the Milwaukee Bucks, and this team under Doc Rivers has been a disaster, really. Under 500, and they were 30-13, I think, with Adrian Griffin. So a fall from grace there, but not really, because even under Adrian Griffin, they weren't the 1 seed, and under Doc Rivers, even though they are in trouble here, they're only in the number 2 seed. So not too bad for them there, but they can choke this one away. Reminder, they do have the tiebreaker against the Cavs and the Knicks, I believe, but they do not have it against the Magic, and that could be an interesting situation because they do play the Magic twice over this last week here. So if the Magic sweep them there, they could potentially be in for the 2 or the 3 seed. Then you get down to the Cavs. They're on a West Coast road trip right now. They aren't playing their best basketball. Thought potentially they could make a push for that 2 seed, but they don't have the tiebreaker there. They also do not have the tiebreaker against the Magic or the Knicks, so that is problematic for them. They want to at least hold on to that 3 seed there, be on the opposite side of the bracket than the Celtics. Then you've got the Magic, as I mentioned. They do have all of these tiebreakers, basically. They have it against the Knicks, they have it against the Cavs, they have it against the Bucks. So all they have to do really is focus on winning there, and they could be going up to either the 2 or the 3 seed there. Then you have the Knicks, got a big win last night against the Kings, but before that had lost a couple of games there, so slipped down to this 5 line. Hopefully for them, they can get to the number 3 seed. As I said, they do have that tiebreaker over the Cavs, but just got to win some of these games. Then you have the Pacers falling a bit here in the 6th seed. They are only a half game up on this Heat team, so they will want to maintain that lead. They've got a game against the injured Thunder tonight at home. That is basically a must-win game to keep them out of that play-in, as you've got the Heat threatening there. Then the Heat, as I mentioned, got 6 games left here, kind of just sleepwalking through this regular season. But if they pick it up here in the last couple of games, they could leap over the Pacers there, so that will be interesting. And then the Sixers are another very interesting storyline because they have Joel Embiid coming back. They did win against the Thunder, comeback effort at home there. And last night, they did beat this Miami Heat team. Now, a note, they do not have the tiebreaker over the Heat or the Pacers there, so it will be tough for them to go up to the 7 or the 6 seed, but just playing better under Joel Embiid, so that is good for them there. Even if they are in the 8 seed, they can be confident that they can match up well with the Heat. And even if they lose that one, then they should be able to beat the Bulls and Hawks winner there. And at the 9-10 spot, you have the Chicago Bulls and Atlanta Hawks firmly etched into this one. It'll be interesting to see who hosts this game, but I do not think that the winner of this game will threaten the Heat Sixers loser there to get the potential 8 seed. So that will be interesting. Both of those teams are locked in those positions at the 9-10 there. But now we get to the more intriguing races in the Western Conference here. So as we saw last week, I think it was a 3-way tie between all of these teams. Now some slight separation. The T-Wolves in front. Now, they do have a very difficult schedule over their last 6 games. That will be trouble for them. But as I mentioned last week, they do have the tiebreaker over both the Nuggets and the Thunder here. And it is worth mentioning that they do play Denver, I believe, next Wednesday. That one could be for the number 1 seed there. So that will be very important. Then you've got the Thunder, a game back here, as I mentioned, injured. They've got the game at Indiana today. I mean, if they lose that, then it's looking pretty dire for their number 1 seed hopes. Then here you've got the Clippers. They did beat the Nuggets last night in a comeback effort there. They are a bit injured, but they're probably just trying to get into the playoffs with that 4th seed, all healthy there. So some home court for the first round would be good for them there. And then you've got the Dallas Mavericks at this 5 spot. Remember last week, they were battling to stay out of the play-in, but now it looks like they will be out of the play-in, even though they did lose a game to the Warriors in Golden State. They're looking good there as some of the other teams have been slipping up, and they do have a couple of these tiebreakers, which will be monumental there. Then we get to the Phoenix Suns, and they have a very treacherous schedule, as I mentioned in my last week video, but they are 2-0 since then, so not too shabby, and they do have a lot of these tiebreakers here. Over these last 6 games, it will be difficult, but they have been playing great basketball. They have a big one tonight against Minnesota, so we'll see if they can get that one done there. If they can win that one, that will be huge, but it'll be very close there. Then you've got the Pelicans. They were the main team that dropped. They were in the 5 seed last week, and I think they've lost 3 consecutive games there, so pretty brutal. And they play a lot of these teams that are around the play-in 6 through 10 over their last couple of games. So it'll be interesting to see where they slide to there, as Brandon Ingram currently injured. Zion potentially went down with an injury in that loss of the Magic, so not great for them there. They will have to play better, obviously, to get out of the play-in. And then you have the Kings, who won a couple of games after they got swept by the Mavericks, but then last night blew a big lead to the Knicks. That does not look good for them there as they go into Boston tonight. Then they have a couple more games on the road trip before ending out the season in Sacramento. So they will have to pick up a couple of wins there. As you can see, the Lakers only have one more loss. Now, it is worth mentioning the Lakers did get swept in that season series 4-0, but the Lakers are lurking if they can get hot, or stay hot for that matter. The Lakers, as I mentioned here, only have 5 games left, 3 of those in Crypto.com Center. So if they can win those, then they play at Grizzlies and at Pelicans to end it out. And then the Warriors here on a bit of a win streak, but not really serving them well here. They have been able to distance themselves from the Rockets. The Rockets really aren't in it at all, as they're down 4 games to the Warriors and don't have the tiebreaker there. But a lot of these teams in front of them, like the Lakers, have been winning, so it's been tough for them to really go up. They have a big game tonight at Dallas. They just did beat Dallas, but on the tail end of a back-to-back here after that win in Houston last night. This will be a tough game, but after that, the schedule kind of lightens up. You do have that big matinee Tuesday night thriller against the Lakers. That one will be big. That one decides the tiebreaker between those two teams. Whichever team wants to get into that 8th spot, it will be integral that they win that game next Tuesday. And then, as I mentioned, the Rockets have really fallen off here. Their play-in hopes are all but done. So without further ado, let's get into my play-in predictions, the 6 through 10 seeds in the Western Conference here. And first, let's look at this Pelicans schedule. They are the team that's been sliding recently. They've got this game tonight against the Spurs. I expect them to win that one. They are a double-digit favorite at home, but you never know. The Spurs team has been quite feisty recently. Wemby has been playing good. Then at the Suns, that'll be a very tough game for them there. I definitely expect them to lose that one. At Trailblazers, I think that's a win. And then you get at Kings. I think that is a loss there. That Sacramento team will really need to win that game. It is worth mentioning between those two teams because they are within one game. The Pelicans are up 4-0 in the season series, so maybe New Orleans has a massive matchup advantage, but I think that the Kings will be hungry in that one. And then the Pelicans-Warriors. The Warriors do have this tiebreaker already, but if they can win that game, that would be huge for their hopes. So I do think that the Warriors will get that win, so Pelicans tough back-to-back there. Then they go back to New Orleans for this Sunday game against the Lakers. That one could be to stay out of the 9-10 game, potentially stay in the 7-8 game, maybe even get out to the 6, but I do see them winning that game at home there, so I've got them finishing up 3-3. Then the Suns, as I mentioned, have been playing good basketball. You've got this tough one tonight against Minnesota, who's going for the number 1 seed, but it is in Phoenix. Then another game in Phoenix against the Pelicans. As I said, I've got them winning that. And then these 2 games against the Clippers. Now, these are back-to-back, one in Phoenix, one in LA, and it really interests me here. Are the Clippers going to be playing their players? Are they going to care about those games? Because if not, the Suns could win both of those, and that could be big. But the Clippers are fighting for that 4 seed. They do not want to fall down to maybe the 5 or the 6 there. So I do think that it's not one of their penultimate games, so they will be trying there. I think that's a split. Suns at Kings here. This one will be tough as well. And then at Timberwolves. So you see 2 games against Minnesota over the next 10 days. That will be difficult for them there. I do have them finishing up 3-3 over the stretch. By how they've been playing recently, I could see potentially 4-2 or 5-1, but if it gets bad for them, I think that it could be even worse. They could end up slipping. And reminder, they do not have the tiebreaker against the Lakers, and their series is tied 2-2 against the Kings right now. So that one next Friday will determine who gets a tiebreaker there, and also some tiebreaker ramifications in this Sunday matchup against the Pelicans. So everything out in front of this Suns team. And then you've got the aforementioned Kings. That game in Boston, they are a double-digit underdog in that one, it looks like. So tough looks for them. Then at the Nets, this is a Nets team that's really tanking right now, so that one should be a win, although it is tough in Brooklyn. Then at OKC, the final game of the road trip there. Thunder, as I mentioned already, a bit injured, but I think that SGA and Jalen Williams could be back for this one. That will be tough, so I've got them losing that. Then the game, Pelicans at home. This is really a must-win for their hopes. And then they have the back-to-back then with the Suns. That will be tough for them. And then you've got the Blazers at home. So I think it's a 3-3 finish for all of those teams, really. The Suns, Pelicans, and Kings there. And that's really not what you want if you're the Lakers or the Warriors. You want one of these teams to just tank the last few games of the season so that you can overtake them there. So as it turns out, I've got the Suns 48-34, finishing out 3-3. Pelicans 48-34 and the 7th seed. They do not have that tiebreaker over the Suns there, as I've got Phoenix winning that game on Sunday, and then I've got the Kings staying at the 8th seed at 47-35. Now let's go to the Warriors and the Lakers schedule here. We'll start out with LA. Only 5 games left. They're playing against a struggling Cavs team, so I do expect them to win that one there. Then Minnesota. Minnesota, really a tough schedule over the next couple of days here, so we'll see on that one. I do have the Warriors winning that game in LA. I just think that they're playing very good basketball right now, but that one will be very close, I think. And then at Grizzlies, that is a must-win game. And then potentially that at New Orleans spot for the 8th seed, that would be an electric finish to the regular season there. And then here you've got the Warriors. Tough tail end of a back-to-back, as I've mentioned, against the Mavericks here. But if they can win that, just look at the rest of the schedule. You've got home against the Jazz. That one should be a win. Then the at Lakers game, that one's pretty difficult as well. And then at Blazers, that one should be a win. And then the back end of a back-to-back. But remember that the Pelicans have just played in Sacramento the previous night, so I think that one could be a win there. And then you're looking at the Jazz at home again. So I do have them finishing 5-1 to end the regular season here. So realistically, a loss tonight against the Mavericks and then winning out. If they can potentially go 6-0, I could see either the 7 or 8 seed in their horizon there. But a lot is hinged on that Lakers game, because if they lose that, they're almost assuredly at the number 10 spot. So here are my final West play-in standings as of today, April 5th. We've got a 3-way tiebreaker here between the Kings, Warriors, and Lakers, but the Kings do win out on that because of the best record in head-to-head games. They did sweep the Lakers 4-0 and tied the Warriors 2-2 in that season series, so the Warriors would have that tiebreaker over the Lakers, although it wouldn't be good for much other than just home court in that 9-10 game there. So that is my analysis of the NBA standings with 10 days left in the regular season and my prediction for how I think the West play-in will play out here. As you can see, this will be a great finish as we've got 6 through 10 only decided by one game there, from the top at the Suns to the bottom and the Lakers. So we will see how this plays out. Let me know your guys' predictions and analysis of the standings right now within the NBA with just a few games left. As always, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.